Hello, I'm Tim and I'm now going to show you how to plant a dahlia tuber. You need to get the pot. In this particular one it's going to be a dwarf dahlia, so this pot is going to be fine. You could use other size pots, especially if you're going to start them off in the greenhouse, which is probably recommended, and then plant them out into the garden. Or of course you can plant them into even bigger pots, like these type of pots, where they're going to stay as containers. What you need to do, all bulbs need a lot of drainage. They don't like to sit in water, so you first of all want to put some crocks or stones, as they're termed, in the bottom of your container. That allows the holes so that they don't get blocked up with the compost, and make sure you get good drainage. So once you've done that, you then need to make sure you get your compost mixed. You use a multi-purpose compost like this one, and you need to have an area where you mix it. So looking at the size of that, working by handfuls, I would say you need to come to about three big handfuls of multi-purpose compost. But that's not just any good, because on its own it becomes too wet and puddingy, which is not good again for bulbs. So you need to add some stones or some grit, a good handful there, and also some sand. Sand also gets into the structure and makes it a little bit better, so that the moisture and water will drain through. So you need to mix all that together. And even here, this is some old compost from pots that I've done in the past, and again, rather than wasting that, you could add another handful of that to give you even more structure, because that has been in the past had roots, soil, stones and everything, so that's proved to be very good. So once you've got that and you've got your crocks in the bottom, you then cover the crocks over until you've got about at least an inch to an inch and a half of soil above the top of those crocks. Once you've got that, you then get your dahlia tuber. In this case it's one of these lovely black Arabian Night ones, but it can be any colour you choose, and you look to see, this is where the old flower stem grew from last year. So you need to check it all over and make sure it's all nice and firm. If it's found that it's rotted in any way, it's probably not going to perform. So as long as it's nice and firm, you make sure you get hold of the old stem, and then you place it in there nice and neatly, and then you just push it down a little bit, and that's where you've got your dahlia tuber planted. To finish it off, you then put the rest of the compost that you've made up around. You then compress it down, making sure that it's nice and firm around the tuber, and then you can finish off a bit more around the top, and you'll find that you've just got the old stem just showing there, so that just needs to be level with the top of the pot like it is showing there. So that is now finished, and literally what you must then do is you need to water all that in. A nice bit of water there, not too much, not too little, but you get it nice and moist. It may be that you come back a bit later just to check, but once you've got the pot compost moist, you would then leave that, check on it periodically over the next few weeks, but ultimately, and don't let it dry out, but once the shoots will start to form around that old stem there, once they start to form, you then start to need to give it more water. At the moment I would leave this in the greenhouse because we're still getting a few odd frosts, but when you are happy or feel a bit more confident that the last of the early morning frosts have gone, I can quite easily put that outside. And if you were to be planting it in one of these, where literally you are just going to transfer it into the garden again, wait until you can see some nice shoots, and then you can take it out of the pot and plant it directly into the garden. One of the big things you need to be careful of, the young growth, you get a lot of slug damage. The slugs will try and eat that off, and they will come from miles around to eat the lovely nice young shoots. So protect them once you first see them started growing. Then planting outside, they need quite a warm position. They still needed to be planted at the top surface, so don't plant them too deep. Plant them so that you can see the shoots exactly as you are there, and then they will be fine and they will produce colour all summer long. And once the blooms and flowers start coming to the head, once they've gone a bit dead, pick them off, and you'll find that they will continue to flower until you get to the first frost. So good luck.